Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of For Goodness Sake. As always, I'm your host, Mesvin Teklu, and today I want to talk about being nice to yourself. As you might have noticed, last time the audio was really loud. I had some people telling me their ears were bleeding when they were listening to my already loud voice on an extremely high volume microphone. Heard it down. I'm not used to having the microphone this close to me. I'm trying something new. I like it. I like being, it's good for me. But I did need to make some adjustments. I think I've done well. So let me know if there's any more problems. Jump right into it. As part of my year of alignment, I've been working on things that I need to change about myself that aren't in alignment with who I want to be or how I want to act. And one of those things is something that I've not really considered a problem for a long time. And that's just how I speak to myself, think about myself, and treat myself. Now, I have always considered myself humble. I like that title. I like being able to look at myself as someone who doesn't brag and so doesn't uh, boast about myself. But on the flip side, I never really noticed how harsh I am to myself. Uh, And when I did notice how harsh I have been in my life to myself, I've always thought that it was a good thing, that I was being my own biggest critic, and that was going to help me advance in life and reach the goals that I wanted to reach. And in some cases, it definitely does. When I make mistakes, I'm the first to notice them usually, and that helps me reflect and introspect about how I can be better in the future. Conversely, though, there is a dynamic that I don't think is very helpful for my self growth or even just for my day to day experience in life. Even if I'm not growing about my day to day, some things are just not pleasant. And one of those things is how I speak to myself on things that aren't mistakes, things that aren't um, areas that I want to improve, but are just normal day to day activities or even when I look back at my life, um, things that I reflect on, I notice I speak really, in my head, I speak really rudely to myself, honestly. And it's hard to say that um, even out loud because it seems weird. Like, how do you speak rudely to yourself? Um, but it's something that's been pointed out to me by a few people in my life that I trust, other people that I trust, in that I talk about things that I've accomplished in a way that they feel brushes off. And I think looking back at it, I think they're right. I talk about things that I've accomplished in a way that kind of dismisses my success. I qualify the reasons why I've gotten to the place that I'm at. I've um, made excuses for other people for why they're not where I'm at, which excuses that might be true, qualifications on myself that might be true. But nonetheless, I've still gotten to certain places in life. I've still succeeded in certain areas of life, and so have all of you. And I'm sure that you also suffer from this weird pathology where we just believe we have to knock ourselves down a peg for whatever reason. Sometimes I think it might come from the fact that I don't want to have anyone else knock me down a peg. If I'm as clear eyed as to how insignificant some accomplishment is in the world, then somebody else who comes along and does something better or cooler or more successful in my eyes, someone comes along and like that, they can't hurt me because I already know I'm down here. They can't knock me down and tell me you're not cool, you're not successful, your accomplishments aren't awesome. So sometimes I think I do that as a protection technique, right? To make sure that nobody else can hurt me since I'm already as aware as possible about my own flaws. Sometimes I think it's just like I can be afraid. Like, what does that mean? Like, if I did something that was cool in the past, like, what does that mean about that myself? Does it mean that I have to continue doing things that were really difficult? If I persevered through some difficulties in the past, does it mean that the place that I'm at today, dealing with things that are not as difficult as they were in the past or don't seem as difficult? Does it mean that since I'm not struggling with certain things that I used to struggle with, am I weak for not accomplishing more? Am I weak or lazy or anything else that um, shows that I'm just not as good as I wish I were? I think this is something that most people deal with. Even being afraid to talk about things that are good. As I should have known, after my last video I posted, many people reached out and gave me so many great words of congratulations and support and love. I'm so grateful for everybody who did that and thought that, and in any way that they passed on their support. I'm so grateful because I forgot that that was the first time that I was announcing that I had been attending UCLA Law School, and that was a big deal for me in my life, and that it's a big deal for a lot of people in my life who've helped me get to the place that I'm at. The outpouring of support that I received reminded me that I didn't explain or tell or announce that I was going to school here because I felt embarrassed about it, and I have no idea why. Partially, I think it's because I don't want to make other people feel insecure. I don't want other people to feel like just because I'm going to a school that has like a long tenured history and tradition of being prestigious or being recognized as prestigious, um, I don't want other people to think that I believe I'm better than other people who don't go to this place or who have not even gone to school at all. And my grandpa was a janitor for 40 years, raised his entire family, provided for his entire family for 40 years on a janitor salary. Never, I think he only got to junior year of high school. I don't believe he ever got his high school education. He might have gone back for some sort of GED or some alternative, but some equivalent education. But regardless, I mean, that was the cap for him, and he's one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. God rest his soul. And I never want people to feel insecure because they think that I think that I'm better than them, or they get insecure by something that I do or have accomplished in some way. But at the same time, that's completely ridiculous, you should in life be proud of yourself. And one of the strategies that I'm practicing for being nicer to myself is, what would I say if a friend of mine were in the same position telling me the exact same thing? If I have a friend, a buddy of mine who's like, yeah, I got into UCLA Law School, UCLA Med School, whatever school. It doesn't matter the name, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just about the fact that, they have some accomplishment that they're trying to tell me. And they were like, but I don't want to tell people because I don't want to make anybody feel insecure. I would say, screw those other people. I might say some other words I'll try not to put on here. I would say, screw those other people. I'd say, go and tell your truth, tell your family, tell your friends. Like, there's so many people who love you, who would want to support you in this, and they've actually helped you get here, so they deserve to be proud of you and experience that joy with you. For some reason, I make exceptions for myself. So that's our first strategy. That's actually what inspired me to make this video, is like realizing that all of a sudden it kind of hit me that, wow, I have these things that are these thoughts, about how other people might feel about my life. I have no idea if people feel that way. No reason to believe, really, no firsthand experience to believe that they will feel this way. But for some reason, I still am letting those possible feelings guide what I do in my life. And I don't think that's a good idea. I'm trying to change it. So that's my first strategy of changing it, right? Is thinking about, okay, if I heard my friend doing this, what would I say to them? Would I tell them to do the same thing? The other thing is kind of very similar to that, which is, if I heard my friend saying this about themselves, would I tell him or her to continue saying that? Would I tell them that they are right for saying that to themselves? Or would I say, no, you're crazy? That is a huge thing for me as well, because I'm extremely critical of myself. whether it's any accomplishment in the world or whether it's just some way that I perceive myself in terms of some quality that I have. Oh, I'm nice. Well, I think, oh, I was mean to that person. I'm not really nice. Oh, I'm constantly making stupid comments, and I have no self. Why can't I have some self control? Ah, that's so stupid, immature, all this. It's like if I met any of my friends who I guarantee are just as immature and goofy and comedic, even when sometimes they're not funny, just like I am. I would tell them that they're great people, they're kind-hearted, they're genuine, they're caring about the world, and they want other people to feel good. And that, by all, for all intents and purposes, that is a nice person, if you ask me. So that's the other thing. So first is if your friend told you about their life or about what they were planning to do, their actions, what would you say to them? Would you tell them to keep doing it? Would you tell them that that's what they should do in life? Or would you tell them you're crazy, brag about yourself, obviously take that word with a grain of salt, and just, share their greatness with the world? First, second, is same with a friend perspective. If your friend told you, talk to you about themselves in the same way you talk to yourself, would you say that they're crazy, or would you say that they're right? I'm probably going to say they're crazy. But the other thing is sometimes you might think, oh, well, my friend is just better than me. Okay, my friend's just better than me. They're just cooler than me. They're smarter than me. They're prettier than me. Oh man, they just like are awesome, and I just suck. Plus, they're not fans of the Vikings, so they don't have eternal torment. 66% of the year. Uh, there's a way you can get around that too, and you can think about how your friend would feel if you talked to them the way you talk to yourself. Not if they talked to themselves and asked you what you thought, but if you talked to your friends the way you talk to yourself, how would they react? Would you every time they bring up an accomplishment, and you told them, oh man, like, people really might be offended. You better keep that to yourself that you just graduated from, welding school. You really better not tell people. Those guys down at the electrician technical school might really feel offended, and these guys over here that, only blah, blah, blah. It's ridiculous. You never say it to your friends, so why do we say it to ourselves? So those are your three practices so far, all relating to kind of how your friends would perceive or react to the things that you say to yourself. Another technique that I actually learned from a friend of mine, he said that he got this from a therapist that he was going to, and I'm so grateful that he shared this technique with me. He put picture of himself as a child, some baby picture or child picture that he had of himself. He put it on his phone, and every time he would open his phone, he would look at himself and as a child, and he would think about the fact, especially when he would have a negative thought, would I treat this kid, this little cutie pie? You guys can enjoy a picture of myself as a child with my younger brother, this little cutie pie. He's got some crazy chipmunk cheeks going on here. What a cutie. And little me. Kind of the very recognizable features, minus the hair. Like, very similar, except a lot more hair now. So, would I tell this little dude, oh man, all of your struggles, all of your accomplishments, all of your mistakes are what defined you. None of those struggles and accomplishments matter. You suck pretty much, and every other word just saying pretty much negative things to this kid? No way! No way! I mean, that'd be like literal sociopathic behavior. I should be locked up if I treated this kid the way I treat myself at times. Yet we do it. Yet we do it. And it's somehow okay to treat, a burly looking really hairy grown man myself this way, but not okay to treat kids that way. I think we should really think about that as a strategy, considering yourself as that younger version of yourself that's still there. You're still obviously a very different person. I'm aware, but obviously, at some level you're still the same person you were as a kid. So Why do you think it's okay to just beat yourself up, but you weren't okay, and wouldn't be okay to do that to that kid or any other kid that you see? So those are a few strategies. Another one that I want to talk about is about your accomplishments and about validating the struggles that you perceive, or don't perceive in your life to have experienced. One thing that I do a lot is just totally invalidate any struggles that I dealt with in the past. Um, whether it's something that from the outside world, a lot of people are like, wow, that was impressive. You persevered through that thing in life. That's not something most people do. Good job. Whether it's something more serious seeming like that, or if it's something, more minute, whether I'm struggling with my schoolwork and I just, for no other reason other than the fact that I'm struggling with it, I want to invalidate that struggle too. I invalidate both of them. That's crazy. Those problems get erased just as easily in my mind as the struggles that I experience that have no seemingly, real reason for me to feel that way. You know, Financial struggles that we've experienced, my family or myself, that other people might say, "Wow, that's so difficult." Go just as easily out of my head, and I have just as many excuses for why I actually wasn't in such a bad situation, and everybody else, really was, struggling just as much as me, just as easily as I have excuses for, when I'm just struggling with my schoolwork. I'm just wanting to like not do work, and I just want to go on Twitter, or I want to, watch TV, and I just like want to not think, and I want to veg out. Um, One thing you need to do is get rid of everybody else, first of all. You need to get rid of everybody else because struggles are not, when you persevere through struggles, they're not about, what other people do. That's the point of a struggle, is like it's you struggling against something, not what somebody else is struggling against. First thing, struggles are one person things, you struggling with something in the world, not having to do anything else. The second thing is you have literally no idea what other people's struggles are. You have no idea. They could be vastly worse than what you imagine, because we all keep so much bundled inside and don't share everything with the world. Sometimes for good reasons. Sometimes I wish we would share more. But also, we also all have such vastly different experiences that some people just have good experiences. And like, I have good friends, like close, very good friends. I love them so much. And they talk to me about like just feeling blessed in life. Like that's just like their experience. Like they just don't feel like they've struggled. Of course, everybody has human experiences like trying to do better in life, but they just like feel that's their experience, man. I genuinely feel blessed too. But, feeling like I've experienced struggle internally, not because other people, call it struggle, call my life experience struggle, but I have struggled internally. And so when I talk to them, it's always fun, like it's like literally just almost funny. Like they're just like, no, like I love you. I'm admiring your perseverance and all this stuff, but that's not my experience. And so, yeah, it seems like one thing that I always tell myself is, oh, everybody's going through stuff, everybody, and they are, okay? Give people courtesy, give people empathy. Everybody is going through stuff, but at the same time, like the stuff everybody goes through is vastly different. And it doesn't matter what anybody is going through anyway, because what you go through is what matters. And you need to give yourself credit for the things you've gone through. You need to give yourself credit for the struggles you've overcome in order to use that as fuel for why you can get through the next thing. If you just completely invalidate all of the struggles you went through in the past, the second you're done with them, you won't remember that the next time you're in struggles that, come up in the future, as they will, struggles continue to come forever. The next time you're in a struggle, the next time you're in some difficult situation, some circumstance you feel like you can't get out of, you're not going to remember like, oh yeah, I went through something difficult. I struggled. It was a challenging circumstance, but I got through it. I will get through this too. That's the lesson of struggles. Like that is the big key takeaway of life throwing hard things at you, is that you can get through it. It's like it will be hard. There's no like you got to rip that band-aid off. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. That's the point of struggles. But As long as you're breathing, as long as you're breathing, as long as you have people around you that love you, really, as long as you're breathing, you'll make it through. But especially if you're breathing, you have people around you that love you, and some other things in life that are able to support you, you are going to be okay. You really are. Um, you need to have that memory of all those things that you got through once in the past in order to remind yourself that you're going to get through this thing that seems impossible to get through in the present. In order to have that memory of those things in the past, you have to not invalidate all the crap that you go through. You have to not worry about how it relates to all the other people in the world and all the struggles they've dealt with. You need to zone in and say, I've struggled at this point, at that point, at that point. In order to get through this point, that point, and that point, I did these things. This is what I think I did right. This is what I think I did wrong. I'm going to practice more of the right and less of the wrong this time. And that's it. It's a very simple solution that I'm prescribing, but it's very, very hard, and it's one of the hardest things you can do because it's a struggle. That's the point of struggles, is it is a internal thing that is hard for you. It's whether it's external circumstances creating those internal feelings that are hard for you, or something internally, psychologically, or whatever else that makes things in life feel hard, for some other reason. That's part of alignment. I think that you guys will really benefit from this. I know that feeling of not wanting to give yourself credit for anything you go through. I know that feeling of wanting to invalidate anything you go through, but I'm telling you, you are not actually doing anybody else a favor by just kind of bullying yourself on a day-to-day basis. And you're not doing yourself a favor. So if you're not doing yourself a favor, you're not doing anyone else a favor, you really might as well give it up, okay? So I gave you a few tools, right? Think about how your friends would react if you said the things that you say to yourself to them. Think about how you would react if they said the things you say about yourself to you, if they said to you what you say to yourself. And then think about how you would react if you heard someone saying what you say to yourself to a kid, or whether or not you would say what you say to yourself to the child version of yourself. And then finally, remind yourself of the things that you've gone through, validate the things that you've gone through in the past, so that you can remind yourself that the future or the present that you're dealing with, the struggle that you're dealing with in the present, will not last forever, and that the future will be better eventually, even if only for a temporary time. We're going to end today with a quote of the day. I know we didn't get one last time, so I want to give you a bonus, but I can't do it. I just have a perfect quote that I love so much, one of my favorite quotes of all time. But I will read more of it than I was expecting to read as the bonus. Okay, so just one quote. Quote of the day is from Marianne Williamson, accomplished businesswoman, entrepreneur. Anyway, great woman, great thinker, great spiritual woman. And her quote today is from her famous poem, Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. What a beautiful quote. What an incredible poem. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts are about it below. Comment, like, subscribe as always, and I will see you next week. Much love.